Hey guys, Dave with the First Place Auto Parts in the studio today. And you know, one of the things that I've learned over my time in the automotive aftermarket is a type of classic car that a person chooses says a lot about their personality. Look, over the 35 years that I've been in the automotive aftermarket, I literally have gone to hundreds, if not thousands, of car shows. Everything from Charlotte's to Carlisle's to Hot Rod Power Tour to SEMA, I've been to them all, sometimes multiple times. Usually I go every year. So I got a chance to talk to a lot of car people and just kind of observe. And what I can tell you for sure is that cars tend to show the inner personality of a person. Look, Monday through Friday, we drive what we have to drive to get to work. On the weekends, we want something that reflects us. Don't believe me? Well, you think a Corvette guy might be a little different than the guy that owns a Coronet, or a Chevrolet guy is a little bit different than a guy who owns an AMC. Next time you're at a show, go and look out and try to find cars that are a little different. Maybe it's that AMC over in the corner. Go talk to that guy. Talk to the guy at the 69 Camaro, and then go talk to the guy with the Jeep, and you're going to find totally different personalities. What's interesting about this and how it ties into the presidents is, look, presidents were people too before they became a president. After that, they got chauffeured around in whatever the government gave them. But before that, they were actually people, and when they went home, they drove their own cars sometimes. And in today's video, what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at some of the presidents and some of the cars that they owned to find out if they were car guys as well. Look, a couple of these may surprise you, and a couple of them didn't surprise me at all. The vehicles they drove on their days off or when they got away from the big White House exactly fit their image. So stay tuned today, guys. In today's video, we're going to take a look at the presidents and the cars they owned, and we'll find out if the cars match their personalities, or at least what we saw in public. And for this video, I'm looking at presidents that essentially start at 1960 up to the present day. Look, before 1960, the cars that the presidents owned, well, they were a little stodgy. They weren't really car guy cars. For example, Herbert Hoover had a 16-cylinder Cadillac. While it's a beautiful car, it's not really what I would call cool. So we're going to start with the 1960s, and the very first president we're going to look at is John F. Kennedy, the young guy. Look, he was the youngest president that the United States had ever had at that time, and John F. Kennedy was known for a lot of things. Look, he liked blondes, and also he was murdered in an untimely death that has never been solved that we know of. But did you know that John F. Kennedy drove a 1961 Ford Thunderbird convertible, and you can just totally see him and Jackie cruising down the beach with their Wayfarers on and the music playing. Look, JFK was a young guy, he had a young family, and that car, that 61 T-Bird, it matched JFK's personality 100%. And one of the presidents to fall into the man, I didn't see that coming category is Lyndon Johnson. Now look, Lyndon Johnson, a little ahead of my time, but the guy actually enjoyed amphibious cars. And for you that don't know what an amphibious car is, it is a car and it's a boat. It's a car that has propellers out of the back that's fully capable of floating on the water and being self-propelled. My guess is that Lyndon Johnson really wanted a boat, but that he couldn't figure out how to back it down the ramp, so he bought a car that he could drive into the lake, go fishing, and then drive it back home. Either way, Lyndon Johnson had to have been a unique man for a unique car, because the amphibious car, if anything, is definitely unique. And then the next president that really kind of reinforces the car matches the personality thing is Richard Nixon. You know, the guy who once said, "I am not a criminal." That guy. Some people used to call him Tricky Dick. Richard Nixon, he always appeared to have a disdain for anything that was fun. Look, you never saw that guy smile or even laugh. He always had this aura of just barely putting up with everything or everybody. And the car he drove just happened to be a 1960 Oldsmobile. Now look, the 1960 Oldsmobile is a kind of stodgy looking car, easily forgettable, and the reality is the car matched Richard Nixon's personality 100%. Yeah, he could have driven anything else, but instead, Richard Nixon chose to drive a 1960 Oldsmobile. And now, how about Jimmy Carter? Look, Jimmy Carter was from White Plains, Georgia. He's a true Southern gentleman, soft-spoken, kind of had a draw. And the reality is, I didn't see this one coming because Jimmy Carter liked to ride motorcycles. Jimmy Carter, say what you will, whether it was about high inflation through his presidency, his brother Billy, who used to drink a lot of beer, the reality is Jimmy Carter, when he went back home, rode motorcycles around. Look, I have a lot of buddies that ride street bikes. I ride dirt bikes. We all kind of have this type A personality where we tend to be maybe a little more aggressive, and I didn't see that in Jimmy Carter at all. This one's a real surprise for me. But you know what? Jimmy Carter liked wind in his hair and twisting the throttle. That makes him okay with me. It's one of those cases where the personality and the machine that he chose to enjoy or ride doesn't match up. So let's see if there's any more presidents that the personality and the cars do match up. And I think you're going to find that one of the last ones it really does. The very last one doesn't match at all. And one of those presidents that it doesn't surprise me at all what they drove when they went home was Ronald Reagan. Look, Ronald Reagan was a movie star. The guy had really good looks and he was very engaging. He was that everyman that could relate to kind of a president. When Ronald Reagan went home to his ranch, all he wanted to do was get away from politics, get away from everything, and get out in the middle of the hundreds of acres that he owned and go work and mend fences. What did he use? Well, he used nothing other than a Jeep. The Jeep and him, look, they were kind of synonymous for a little bit. Rugged good looks, dependability, but also just an honest good machine. You can say the same thing about Ronald Reagan, and the fact that he owned the Jeep is not a surprise to me at all. Look, this is one case where the car and the person, the personality of the person, 100% agree, and Ronald Reagan liked Jeeps. And Donald Trump, what can be said about Donald Trump that hasn't been said thousands of times? Donald Trump was a successful businessman before he went and became president, which means he had the means to own some real neat cars. Look, this guy has a collection of classic, vintage, and also late model Rolls Royce. He has a Ferrari F430 and also a slew of high performance Mercedes-Benz cars. Also, one of the things that he has, which is really cool, and it's probably on a poster on one of your guys' wall when you were younger, is he has a baby blue Lamborghini for when he wants to escape the political scene and just go and blast down the highway. Donald Trump has got a bunch of really neat cars. Look, Donald Trump's flamboyant, and the cars that he owns are equally as flamboyant, and that's 100% perfect matches for his personality. And the last president we're going to take a look at is also our most recent president, and that's Joe Biden. Look, I'm not sure if Joe was ever really cool back in the 1920s when he was taking on corn pop at the local swimming pool with a chain. But the reality is that Joe Biden does own a 1967 Corvette Stingray 4-speed car that is the quintessential of cool. Now, does the car make the guy cool or does the guy make the car cool? In this case, any way you slice it, no matter what aisle you're on, left or right, the 67 Corvette's a cool car. So I'm not sure Joe Biden is actually a car guy, and it really surprises me, I guess, that he chose this car. I'm not sure how it happened, but the reality is Joe Biden may own the coolest car out of all the presidents that we've talked about. And then the 67 Corvette 4-speed car will always be a cool vehicle. You know, I don't get the impression that any of these guys really ever worked on their own cars. Maybe Ronald Reagan could have, but if they had worked on their own cars, I can tell you with great confidence they would have gone to First Place Auto Parts and gotten all the restoration and performance car parts that they needed for their classic either American muscle car or their late model performance vehicle. Look, always open, super easy to use, First Place Auto Parts is the place where we have everything you need to get the parts that you need to get your project either on the road, make it look better, or go faster. And guys, if you liked this video, and hopefully it was entertaining for you and taught you a little bit about some of the people that have inhabited the White House and their inclination towards the type of cars they drove and their personalities, please consider subscribing to the First Place Auto Parts YouTube channel. Every week we're putting up new videos showing you new parts, how to put them on, going to some pretty cool car guy stuff, and delving into some of the car culture that's going on all over this great country. Guys, until next time, keep the hammer down and keep it between the guardrails.